Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Chainlink Ethereum merge watch party. We are all here. We are all very excited. We thought that we'd be merging right now, but it looks like we've still got a little bit of time left, but we thought we'd go live anyway and say hi to everybody, read chat, watch what's happening with the merge, and really just talk about what's going on in crypto right now. Why don't we go around and do introductions? So let's start top left. Harry, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name's Harry. I'm a developer advocate manager at Chainlink Labs here, and I'm ultra excited for the merge today.
All right, let's jump to Zubin.
Hey guys, I'm Zubin Pratap here based in Australia and also a developer advocate here at Chainlink Labs and super excited to be with everybody here today.
Harry, or Patrick, you're up.
What's up, everybody?
Needs no introduction.
Oh, that's not true. My name is Patrick Collins. I'm a developer advocate on the Chainlink project, and I'm mildly delirious right now. So this is good. Patrick needs some sleep. Vitalik needs to hurry up and do the merging. But yeah, that's me.
All right, Andre.
Yeah, Jam. My name is Andre, and you can see by the position of the sun and my morning coffee that I'm based in Europe. So I can be here with basically the whole day until the merge happens. So yeah, happy to be and chat with you today, guys. Off to you, Frank, I think.
Hello, everyone. My name is Frank Kuhn. I'm also a developer advocate in Chainlink Lab. And my job is for the Chinese developer community. I don't know if any Chinese developer come today because I published this link yesterday. And for now, it's after for me. So I'm good with the merge.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. And my name is Stephen Fluin, and I am the head of developer relations here at Chainlink Labs. So maybe one of the first things to talk about here is what time do we think this is actually going to happen? I know a lot of us are on Bordel.wtf. Some people, I was on a bunch of miners' websites. They have their own countdowns. Google has a countdown. What does Google's countdown say right now?
I think Google's is about half an hour behind Bordel. Yeah. It's not the easiest thing to predict, right? Because you've got the total difficulty that we need to reach, and that kind of changes as miners come and go from the network.
Yeah, so you've got Bordel says 6:41 UTC, which is in 40 minutes from now, but it keeps shifting and it keeps sliding, as we've seen.
Yeah, it's so it's at least 35 minutes, right? But it could be, we don't know, it could be a lot after that even too.
And why is the time slipping? Because the hash rate hasn't seemed to change for the last few hours. So like, I would think that if the hash rate isn't changing, the difficulty should be where they predicted it.
That's a great question. Does anyone else have any idea?
I saw one of the comments, somebody said that miners are turning off the nodes. I don't know if that's true or not, but if somebody did say that in the comments, and you have some resources to link to, that would be really great to see.
Vitalik just wants to keep the suspense going as long as he can.
Yeah.
So he's running around to every node operator and being like, slow down. He's got like a little crossing guard vest on, telling the nodes to reduce their difficulty. Guys, I'm losing it. This stream is going to be just delirious chat. And then if something does break, I will, put my rear in gear and get down to my ETH node and do damage control. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But right now, we're woo, as where the mental state is. So
I see a comment from the chat here. It'd be cool to mine the last ETH block.
Oh, that would be so cool.
And equally cool would be to mine the first block on the beacon chain post the merge as well.
Would you put something special in it? Like, would you insert a special transactions that's like, hi mom?
There's a graffiti you can set on the transactions for Ethereum 2 validators, but it's limited to 32 bytes, I think. So there's only like a certain amount of stuff you can put in. So it'll be interesting to see what the very first graffiti is against the, post-merge Ethereum world.
And where should people go to look at graffiti from blocks that have been mined? It's not something I see on like Etherscan when I look at a block.
Yeah, great question. So post in the chat and I'll try to share my screen here. So beaconchat.in is the explorer that I use. I think there's a couple to look at the Ethereum 2 network. How do I share my screen here? Share. There we go. So as you can see, we've got blocks here. Let's see if we can find one.
Harry, could you zoom in a little bit?
There
Thanks.
we go. So here's the epoch, which is just a number of slots. And where is the graffiti now?
While he's looking that up,
Here it is, graffiti.
Oh, nice.
So this one was done by Teku version 22.9.0.
Teku
Someone just put that in
gang.
there.
Also, everyone who's here and in the chat, how many of you are running ETH nodes? How many of you are like ready, all hands on deck, ready to come in and swoop in and fix whatever needs to be fixed? Who here is running an Ethereum node ready for the merge? Who's doing that?
Yeah, let us know.
And then Soul's here too. Mad Soul. What up, Soul? Is that
Steven's getting
popcorn?
the popcorn ready.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Steven's
he's
really
expecting damage.
he's getting seriously ready.
I'm with it, Steven.
And I have the panda.
Someone's bingo card just got checked off by having that panda. We got a Ninja Turtle in the chat. Got his ready. Love it. Excellent.
And so funny that I was in the Spanish party and both are showing the same site, the same explanation. So this is so nice.
Yeah, so what we're looking at here is we're waiting for the total difficulty of the current chain to reach this number here, which is basically here. So once the green meets the red, then it's game on, and the merge is going to instantly happen.
All right. Are we taking bets then? I feel like that's what we got to do. We got to make some bets, code the agreement in a smart contract on when it's going to happen. Oh, wait. Yo, was there a prediction market for this? I bet you there was probably a prediction market for this. Did anyone see anything about that? That might have been really
Yeah, there was actually one on Bordel, I think.
Oh, really?
We can
Where, sorry?
we can code another one live right now.
Yeah.
We could, right? We would just have to do like block.difficulty and look for that specific number, see if it's greater or less than.
Yeah. There's a great question in the chat here. Does someone want to try answer? What if exactly during the merge, some transaction is submitted to the proof of work chain rather than the beacon chain?
Yes, in fact, the transaction is submitted to the same place, but what defines this is the block number. So if you try to put, if you try to add this in the block number that's proof of work or proof of stake, this is the difference. Am I right?
I think that's definitely part of it, right? So it's the proof of work chain has its own chain ID, but you'd also need to send it to like an actual the correct chain, right? So the proof of work or the proof of chain node with the right chain ID, and then obviously with the transaction history.
Yes, but the chain ID you not change for us.
What's that?
Like if you use the chain ID from Ethereum mainnet, it's supposed to be the same.
Well, it totally depends on the miners, right? So if the miners have hard forked and changed the chain ID, then they'll only accept transactions for that chain ID.
Right.
But if they didn't implement, what is it, the Paris hard fork, then
Exactly.
they'll still have the old chain ID.
Right. Yeah. So, yes.
So it depends. So like, what do we know about the proof of work chain? Like I saw some rumblings. I didn't see anything like formal or official coming out from that group.
I saw yesterday that they created a Twitter account, and they are telling that one day after the merge, the other chain will be live. I
Oh,
think I
wow.
don't-
So within 24 hours, they're going to have their own new proof of work chain running.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Interesting.
Wait. Okay. So I mean, did they implement their own like Paris hard fork like alternative? Like as of the peak difficulty, it's their own chain, or are they just going to like wait and see what happens and then create a hard fork?
Yes, the idea is to change the difficult again.
Yeah, so they're implementing their own code that not only reverses what was done for Paris hard fork, but then has their own logic to say, hey, this is business as usual now.
Do we know how many miners are like running that version of the node?
I do not know. Does anyone else have any links or anything they want to show?
With nodes, Ethernodes has some. I was falling.
Stephen, someone's asking what flavor your popcorn is.
Important question. Thank you for asking.
Buttered and salted, but not caramel. I can't do caramel corn. It's too sweet.
Stephen, that was the right play, my friend. Now I'm wishing I had popcorn here.
See, but you need popcorn in 40 minutes from now. I'm way too early. This is way off.
I mean,
31 minutes.
I mean, do you eat your
apparently.
popcorn at the climax of the movie or like at the beginning? I feel like we're at the beginning of the movie. I feel like you've chosen the correct time.
We're gonna have the same phenomenon that happens in offices where one person makes popcorn and it makes other people like you smell popcorn and you're like, oh, I should make some popcorn.
Mm-hmm.
And so no one will have popcorn for months, and then one day everyone will just like popcorn. Let's get it going. Let's get the popcorn chain going.
So here's the disadvantage of remote. If we were in the same office, I could go over and steal some of your popcorn, but we're not. So that popcorn's all yours. But if you don't finish
I'm sure
it,
someone else has popcorn in their house. I can mail you some.
I was
there in like
about to say, if you don't finish it, Stephen, feel free to mail it to me. I will gladly eat your leftover popcorn. Where can we get these Chainlink
Ooh,
caps?
the green bar moved.
Yes.
Did you see it?
I think it moved
Like
down.
1 or 2 pixels. It was so exciting.
Did it go down or up?
I think it went down.
I think it went down, yeah.
I'm dying, guys.
Hey, what
Again,
time
like,
is for you? For me, 3 a.m.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Lamb.
So
Halik must be in Australia or something because it's like afternoon Australian time.
And
I think we need a total difficulty chart for Patrick and Saul as well.
Yeah. And Andre, did you wake up? For you?
Yeah, it's 8:15 a.m. at my
Wow.
place. So I woke up slightly before 6 a.m. to wait for the merge, and I still didn't have my breakfast. So maybe I'm started to get hungry. So maybe I'll drop off to grab something. I'm still drinking my morning coffee, but yeah.
all right, y'all. Breaking
Apparently
news.
the
though.
merge is the merge is European time friendly, I guess.
Mhm. And breaking news: Bortle.wtf just dropped below 30 minutes. So that's a good sign. I'm about
It'd
it.
be funny if the prediction was wrong and like it happened like 10 minutes ago and none of us noticed.
We're all
Yeah.
just like sitting here. That's really funny.
So like, could you like pull up your node, your beacon chain, and like watch the transactions going through it?
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna do that actually.
I think that would be cool because then we don't have to trust. Let's find some truth.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, I'm gonna do well. I don't want to share my screen though, because I don't know what is in the logs.
The beacon chain logs are okay. It's the validator logs you don't want to show.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I'll share mine quickly.
Wait. It's the beacon. Wait. It's the validator logs. So if you're running Teku, wait, what are you running for your consensus client?
I'm running Prism.
Oh, I guess those are logs.
So this top window here, I don't know how much you guys can see, is the oh, that doesn't work. The top window is the Ethereum execution client. In this case, it's Nethermind. So this is pulling in block information from the current proof of work chain. And the second one is the beacon chain or consensus client, which in this case is Prism. And you can see it's adding to the beacon chain, and it's saying this ready for the merge message all the time, because it's like ready to go for when that difficulty gets reached.
Wait, so what are you showing was that your Teku logs? What logs were those? Or your Prism logs? What logs are those?
This second window is the logs for the beacon chain, Prism logs, but it's not the log for the validator itself.
Wait, where are the logs for the validator? Wouldn't that be your Prism node?
I've got another. Can you zoom in? Can you zoom in on a couple of those, or maximize from the windows?
How do I zoom in? I've got another terminal window open, but it's minimized for the validator.
Wait, is your validator not your Prism? Why am I being confused here?
No, Prism has two, I think. Yeah,
it's two separate sessions, two separate programs.
Got it.
Yeah, Prism has two different clients. One's for the validation and one's for the consensus.
Oh, interesting. Teku's just one client.
Oh, okay. Prism splits it out to two separate processes.
Yeah,
because you need to deposit your ETH. Yeah, to run the validator bit, you need to deposit the ETH, and not everyone wants to do that, so they just want to do that too.
So you can see the beacon chain's checking the latest difficulty here, and it's comparing it to the terminal difficulty.
Got it. And then it looks like in the Teku logs, it tells me the attestation that I make. So yeah, I wouldn't want to share these. I mean, it's not like a security thing, but then you could identify which validator was mine, and I wouldn't love that. Yep. So sorry, peeps, looking for the alpha in the chat.
We actually have a few questions. Maybe we can take a swing at answering some of these. So what's the merge mean? I mean, who wants to jump in? I mean, it's on screen too, but
yeah, don't read from that. I was just gonna say.
Yeah, he's on we preferred earlier.
For me, it's all about the shift from proof of work to proof of stake. Right now, there are 800 million 3090 equivalents running around the world, like 3090 or NVIDIA 3090 graphics cards, because 3090 is like 100 mega hashes per second, and so there's 849 terahashes. I think it's 849 million graphics cards equivalent compute power going into the proof of work chain. Someone check my math on that one, but that's a huge amount of work going to verifying and securing the Ethereum network, and all of that just disappears. Like all of that proof of work just is no longer needed the moment the merge happens. Someone was thinking like, oh, there's gonna be a ramp down. I'm like, no. The block, this block that happens on the main Ethereum chain, those like the mining doesn't matter. There is no difficulty, right? It's all based on the proof of stake. It's based on how much ETH have you staked, how many validators do you have, all that.
Yeah, 100% right. And the actual rollout is actually a multi-stage process, and this is stage 2 of 2, if you will. So, am I still sharing my screen? Yeah. So this diagram here kind of shows it really well. So up until recently, we were running the proof of work chain, and miners would run a client such as Geth or something like that. And then in December 2020, Ethereum launched what was called the Beacon chain, which is for the proof of stake Ethereum network. So Initially, the beacon chain has been just running since December 2020, and all it really does, other than that proof of stake consensus mechanism between all the validators, is it just kind of checks the balances of each validator and whether they're active or not. So that's the state of the beacon chain. There's no smart contracts, there's no anything like that being stored there. And that's stage one of the merge, to run those two things together in parallel, so we can kind of see how everything's looking, everything's going, and kind of leave the actual shift to another date. So that's what today is. So what's going to happen today is when the total block difficulty reaches that predefined number, both of the clients, the Ethereum 1 clients such as Geth, plus the Ethereum 2 clients, whether it's Teku or Prism, they both have code in them to say, hey, when the total difficulty reaches this, let's shift to this new logic instead. And that new logic is basically that there's no more mining done on the Ethereum 1 clients, and they become just purely an execution client to process smart contracts and transactions and stuff like that. And then the beacon chain and the validators become basically the new consensus mechanism for everything, right? So the old chain stops, and then going forward, proof of stake with the beacon chain as your kind of consensus layer, and then the Ethereum 1 clients such as your Geths, your Nethermines as your execution layer.
Sounds good to me. So maybe a connected question is, well, the merge affects the traditional tutorials and documentation of Ethereum. Do we have to update our applications? Depending. So like if everything goes right, no one should have to do anything, right? It'll just magically work. I don't know, the nodes on the network, if not enough nodes agree to the hard fork, things like that, you might have mixed consensus, you might have challenges and things like that where you have block reorganizations, that there might be things that go wrong. We don't actually know, right? This is, in my mind, the biggest change that has ever happened in crypto, right? Like this moment in time, if I look back over the last even decade, there has never been a network with this scale in operation that has undergone a hard fork like this. And so,
yeah,
like this is why there's so many live watch parties.
Yeah, and even outside crypto, this is just if you think of it as IT software upgrades, like the amount of value in Ethereum right now and what's being done to it is probably up there with the most, like, I won't call it high risk, but high value IT software upgrades in history as well, because you've got something that's worth so much money, that's securing so much money, that's having this major change done, like just instantly, like that. So it's kind of never been done before.
Yeah, it's a lot of these systems will go down for a few hours for like maintenance, right? But Ethereum can only go down for 14 seconds until the next block is due, right? Like,
yeah, we can't pause the chain. There's no pause button.
We also had a question, what's coming next for Chainlink? And I think someone else in the chat said it, but I think that one of the biggest things that's coming this month for Chainlink is SmartCon. So that is an event we're putting on in New York at the end of the month. We've got tons of developer workshops. We've got a whole like developer workshop day. We've got a main conference where we've got, I think it's like hundreds of speakers at this point, and then a hacker house on the Friday. So lots and lots of fun going to be happening at SmartCon.
I just shared the website in the chat for anyone that's interested. Awesome.
Can I click on it? Oh, is that it? Smartcon.chain.link. There it is. All right. And then I think there were some other questions. So the merge is happening to have more validators.
So the merge isn't happening to have more validators per se. The merge is occurring so that validators now control the consensus of the network. So if you go to the Beacon Chain Explorer that I shared earlier at Beacon Chain, chad.in, and go to validators, you can see that there is now, where's the number? There should be a number somewhere. 428,309 validators currently running, processing Beacon Chain blocks, and each of them has 32 ETH staked as part of the process of onboarding to become a validator. So going forward, they will be the ones responsible for creating blocks and maintaining the consensus of the network. And anyone running the old proof of work protocols like Geth, etc., that they'll no longer be mining and creating blocks.
And that number can be a little misleading, though, right? Because there's far fewer than 400,000, I'll call it maybe teams, organizations, centers of authority running those, right? Like I'm sure a lot of those nodes are run by the same people.
Yeah, the political decentralization is not one-to-one. So you might have an exchange that's holding, like 500,000 ETH, and they're running X number of validators, one validator per 32 ETH they have. So even though it's multiple validators in this 428K number, it could be just one entity that's kind of controlling them or in charge of them.
Who can talk about Bellatrix that happened 1 week ago?
Bellatrix upgrade?
Yes.
My understanding of Bellatrix was it was a fork to the network on both the consensus and the execution clients to prepare for the merge. So they had code put in. It wasn't backwards compatible, and it basically just prepared them so that when this block difficulty comes, the merge occurs. That's my understanding.
Yes, this is great.
Maybe the connected question to the previous one. So you, Harry, shared your screen and you showed us basically that you're currently running two different instances. So one is like execution client and the other one is consensus client. So, to become a validator, you need to run both. But what if you want to become like a regular user on the Ethereum after the merge? Do you still need to run both of the clients or just the execution one?
What do you mean by a regular user?
I mean, like, I want to be a user of, let's say, some decentralized app, and I don't want to use like Infura or Alchemy or whatever RPC provider, but I'm not like a validator. Do I still need to run both clients, or I can just run execution one?
That's a great question.
Patrick, did you want to take it?
I actually don't know. I think you do have to run both. That would be my guess.
Yeah, you do have to run both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, to me, it wouldn't feel like it would make sense if you can send a transaction to just one or the other, right? Like you need to execute the transaction on the execution layer, and then it needs to reach consensus on the consensus layer. So to me,
why not though? Because you don't have to like mine a block to create a transaction, right? Like all you need is a node to create a transaction in the mempool.
Yeah.
Well,
it's a multi-stage rollout, and maybe in the future it will all be consolidated into one client. But as part of this stage of the rollout, yes, you do need the two separate clients running. Your legacy or Ethereum 1 execution layer client is the one that gets all the transactions, etc. And the beacon chain client talks to the execution layer client. They're talking to each other, and the beacon chain then kind of does the consensus and everything. So for now, you definitely need to run both if you want to run a full node yourself.
Yeah, I could be wrong, but I think there's an inter-process communication piece between the execution layer and the beacon chain layer that has to happen, and that's why you need to have both. So that's why you need to have both running, is so that they can communicate on your machine on the local node before, and then the actual processing synchronization is parallel, but the first IPC communication is on your machine.
Yep. I think that's 100% right.
And we've got a bunch of questions that we'll maybe knock out. So how is the contracts deployed as of yesterday don't have to be redeployed after the merge? It's still the same blockchain, right? Every new block that is created is still based on the blocks that came yesterday. Even in the case of a hard fork where like Ethereum proof of work becomes a new chain, it will still have an identical history to the Ethereum mainnet.
So I guess another way of looking at that, Stephen, is that past blocks are immutable anyway. So nothing really changes in that sense.
So if you deploy a smart contract now, it will still exist no matter what happens. A few other ones. Ethereum's merging with Bitcoin? No. Completely different chains. This has nothing to do with Bitcoin. What else we got? How does proof of stake protect against centralized forces such as centralized exchanges?
One of the points related to this is related to like countries that are doing some kind of censorship to nodes, for example. And in fact, the centralized exchanges, they used to, some of them used to have or to use infrastructure like Infura. So it's not the centralized exchange. This is not the problem. What do you think about it?
So I got to jump off. I got to go talk to a couple node ops. But if I don't see you all, happy merge day. Congratulations. We made it. Really, really exciting here.
We're not there yet. We'll see.
But, well, I'm just, hold on. I'm just saying, if I don't see you. Oh, I just jinxed it. We're all,
I'm always a skeptic.
Well, hopefully it goes well. Happy merge day. And if it goes poorly, then maybe you all will still be here in a little bit. But
yes.
Yeah. Bye all for now.
Good luck, Patrick.
Woo! Bye, Patrick.
And so I'll respond a little bit to the question you just, or the kind of building on what you just said. There aren't perfect protections in these ecosystems. If you look at proof of stake or proof of work, right? We're proof of work right this moment. If you showed up with more than 700 terahashes a second, which like theoretically you could do if you had enough money, like you would be able to create probabilistically create the new consensus, right? And so the same thing is true with proof of stake, where if you had more ETH than anyone else, because you were somehow able to buy it, you could control the consensus. But the idea is that the more people that participate in this, the more decentralized it's going to be and the more protected it's going to be.
Yep.
Exactly. One interesting point that was discussed today in another in-person meeting that I was is something related to what happened if they put a bomb like in a miner center and because you have the machines over there. But we are talking about the difference between have on-site with miners and to have more decentralization. Even if you have your node in a cloud, for example, that you don't have any work, any effort with the machines to change from one cloud system to another, for example. This is another facility of decentralization.
Is it just me, or is this site now missing the prediction?
Did it happen? Check your node, Harry. Yeah, it's gone for me too.
It says ready for the merge still, and we are apparently 36 blocks away.
Google says 9 minutes. Bordell says stop saying. Let's check a couple others.
I think Bordell was a bit optimistic. I might just quickly take a minute to talk about what we expect to happen, or what we should check once the merge happens, seeing as it's kind of closing in now. So, like I said before, the transition will occur when the total difficulty reaches the total terminal total difficulty value, and the point at which we consider things good and safe and a success is basically about 13 to 15 minutes after this point. Right, because the network finality on the beacon chain is reached after 2 epochs. Where are we here? After 2 epochs are confirmed by at least 2/3 of active validators, and basically, I think an epoch is a set of 32. Sorry, an epoch is a period of time, 6.4 minutes divided into 12-second intervals. So if we start seeing blocks on the beacon chain here produced, and sorry, if we get 2 epochs finalized here after the merge kind of cutoff point, we can consider that as a pretty much a perfect success without any forks or anything holding things up. So the approximate time for that should be 13 to 15 minutes.
Oh, the time you come back and now it's 7 minutes.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Someone once referred to this in a very interesting way, which is like they called it instead of like an L1, it's L0 social consensus. So right, the merges and changes to chains like the merge only happen because the miners, the validators, sign up and agree to do it. Right. So I feel like that's like such an interesting idea that there's still this societal social consensus where if everyone involved in Ethereum didn't want to, it would never happen.
Yeah. In the end, it all comes down to social consensus. Yeah.
So, but the only risk here comes from that social consensus, right? Like if everyone agrees that it happens perfectly, then it's going to happen perfectly. If people say, hey, no, I disagree with that consensus, I'm going to create my own, that's when things might go weird.
Yep. Yeah, it looks like we are 27 blocks away. If ETH forks, will there be a fork of Chainlink too? Does someone want to answer that one?
So right now, Chainlink is publicly committed to supporting the proof of stake fork. But I mean, I think that social consensus applies to everyone at some level of like everyone's watching to see what happens. I mean, so where applications are, where developers live, I think that's one of the guiding principles is like we want to support developers and make them successful. And so at the end of the day, we want to be on all the chains that make developers successful. But at the same time, there's so much uncertainty, or there was like so much uncertainty about the forks, whereas I think the proof of stake kind of mainnet chain, there's much less uncertainty.
Yep, makes sense. I'm seeing if there's any other questions here. I saw one before about can a validator node get staked from other members who want to stake their ETH? So you need 32 ETH per validator, and once that's submitted, it's kind of locked up. You can't withdraw or anything yet. So what some people do is if they have 32 ETH, they stake themselves, or if they have more, they can stake multiple validators. Some people go in with friends and say, hey, if you know someone and you're comfortable, sharing this with them, hey, let's put in some ETH together and stake a node. Or some people use third-party staking services such as Rocket Pool and what's the other one? Is it Lido? Where you can, even if you have like $200 worth of ETH, you can still stake it using their infrastructure, their network, and they take a fee, and you kind of still get some rewards based on that as well. So
yeah, it's kind of the successor of we used to have mining pools where you like no computer graphics card is powerful enough to do 700 terahashes and like solve every block, right? So everybody contributes to increase the overall probability of solving a block, and then you share the rewards. The same thing will happen with proof of stake, right? Like people will come together, share a little bit of ETH, and then that will be pooled together to create validators that then everybody shares in the rewards.
Hey, Ethernodes are saying that the upgrade is now live. Can you see?
I would trust Harry's node, but we'll see. This is an example of something that could go wrong.
Ready for the merge. Latest difficulty 587498, and it's 5875 is what we're looking for.
Oh, Bordel just crashed. It's getting DDoSed by all the people watching the merge. We're 4 minutes away, I think.
Mind you, this is in Australia, so maybe it takes longer to reach Australia. Who knows?
Is there an easy way to set up a validator node at home, or will there be? I don't think they're going to make it any easier. I think you're going to need to run all of the clients. I mean, although Patrick mentioned that one of the clients actually runs both the consensus layer and the beacon layer. The consensus layer and the execution layer.
Yeah. One thing I'll say though is that whether you're using Geth, Nethermind, Prism, Lighthouse, whatever clients, they all have pretty good docs. to follow, and they all have a good community in Discord where if you run into issues and ask for help, you'll definitely get kind of help. So it seems a bit daunting at first, and there's test nets that you can play around on as well before you commit to doing it on mainnet. But there is good support for it, and once you've got it going and running, it's not as bad as you think.
And in terms of setup, Harry, just on that point, I mean, obviously hardware is important because it takes quite a lot of storage. Has anyone here done a snap sync, or has everyone just done full sync, those who've done it?
I think depends on which client you use. So currently the Beacon chain's about a couple 100 gigs or 100 gigs or something, I think. And the ETH1, depending on which client, I'm using Nethermind, and I think that's about a terabyte at the moment for like a full node, but it's not like a full archive node, which is even more. But it depends on what client you use. Like, I think Geth is the chain is bigger than 1 terabyte at the moment.
Yeah, it is, and that's why the hardware thing.
We are super, super close, 2 minutes or less. Some people counting blocks. I don't think you can count blocks because it totally depends on the difficulty in those blocks, which you can't predict, right? Like probabilistically.
Oh, we got it. Look. What's this?
Da, 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 da.
Ooh.
Da, 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 da.
Proof of stake.
Wow.
Hey.
Yippee.
Now we get to check the
All right. What should everyone put in the chat about the merge? Just pandas?
Put something in the chat, guys.
Merge pandas?
Yes.
So exciting. We just witnessed history together.
Yeah.
Couldn't think of a better place to do it than with everyone here.
That's exactly right. Let's take a look at the Beacon Chain Explorer and monitor it over the next few minutes now.
What was the magic block number?
Ooh, how am I going to find that now? Let's see. Well, we should be able to check this chain as well, the old one.
Etherscan is good now, or no?
Harry, were you just on beaconscan.com or what were you?
I'll share the link again. It's beaconcha.in. So I think this one was a little bit before. Oh, no, sorry, it will be in this epoch. It's a question of what slot it was.
I'm seeing a lot of proposed blocks. I'm not seeing a lot of confirmed blocks.
Where are you looking? Did you want to share your screen?
Most recent blocks on the right side. There.
Yeah, on the right side, yeah.
Is that a bad sign?
No. That's fine, because I think, like I said earlier, it takes 2/3 over a certain amount, over 2 epochs to have them as like finalized, I think.
And on the Beacon chain, the epoch is 6.4 minutes, right? On the Beacon chain.
It's what, sorry?
6.4, is that right?
What's 6.4, sorry?
6.4 minutes, that's the duration of an epoch, isn't it? On the Beacon chain.
Yep. It's X number of slots.
Do we know if everything worked perfectly? I mean, blocks are being produced, and Etherscan can see them. Harry's node can see them. I see contracts coming through, so it looks like it worked successfully. But I think it'll take us a little time to fully know that.
Yeah. So far things are okay. So like I said, we've got what's called the merge block, which was created on the Beacon chain within 1 or 2 slots of the cutoff point. So at this point, the 2 chains are merged, but there might be multiple forks, right? So we want to see one chain ideally. So if things go perfectly, we should continue to get blocks. And at the end of the epoch, up to 6.4 minutes later, we want to see like the finalized epochs just basically keep updating, right? So, but we won't include the merge block until we get to that 12 to 15 minutes later, when it's basically done that 2 epochs. That's when we'll see the merge block having been finalized. And at that point, we can guarantee that the merge is done and we can, break out the scotch and champagne. So in terms of how that translates to visuals, I think if we see this epoch get finalized and then the next one, then it should be, all good to go.
Here, I think we should get a group photo with all of us. So if you want to stop sharing your screen for just a microsecond here, I'm going to take a screenshot.
Yeah.
All right, everybody in the chat wave, everybody on the team. I think I looked away. Hold on. Let's try this again. 3, 2, 1. Got it. Perfect. To commemorate the merge. I'll tweet that out in a moment.
Yeah, what's going on Twitter? I can see here Patrick is celebrating.
Hey,
Maybe you should, Harry, screenshot your terminal and post it on Twitter. The beautiful panda.
To do what? Sorry, screenshot my terminal.
Yeah, so Patrick screenshot his terminal, his panda image in the terminal, and post it on Twitter, celebrating.
Yeah. Maybe after the call, when I can zoom out and do it a bit easier, I'll definitely scroll up in the logs and get the panda. But we saw it live happen, right? Remember? We all saw the panda come up.
Yeah.
You did see it in your terminal? Yeah.
Beacon Chain website's being spammed at the moment. Big time.
I can see a bunch of.
How long has been worked on ETH2? So they started looking at ETH. This wasn't proof of stake actually mentioned in the original white paper. So from the get-go, they always had the plan to kind of do this. That's my understanding. Oops.
Where's the drinks and the champagne?
We only have popcorn at the moment.
Should have bought the scotch up
popcorn,
here.
so.
Yeah.
I have an energetic drink to be wake up until 4 a.m.
I have work in 6 hours. Like, Max B is reminding me that this is on YouTube, so all the screenshots you want. 30 screenshots a second.
Beacon Chain site is down.
And Ruben says it's like a spaceship taking off. It totally does feel like that. Like, did anyone else watch like the SpaceX launches with a bunch of people? Like, it was a magic moment when like the drone was like, or when the rocket landed the booster for the first time, and everyone's like flipping out because it's just like such amazing video.
So the Beacon Scan website, which is another explorer for the Beacon Chain, seems to be working. But I'm not as good as reading this one, though.
Interesting question, which is how much cheaper are gas fees now? They look, I mean, if you just look at ETH gas station, they do seem to have gone down a fair amount.
Yeah, my understanding is there might be slight marginal gains, but nothing huge until some of the future kind of plans of the Ethereum 2 rollout are kind of implemented.
Exactly. In my understanding, technically, this is not going to solve like the potential problem of a huge gas fees. What I can see here that the gas price decline is maybe just people are waiting for a couple of more blocks to be finalized, all that stuff before continue using Ethereum again.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like the mental model I've always had around gas is that you're paying for the compute of the entire network. And so the compute requirements haven't actually changed that much, right? Like all of the validators have to run every transaction on the blockchain. And so you're still paying for a lot of compute. It's just organized differently. Instead of being secured by mining, it's being secured by the proof of stake and the consensus layer.
Exactly. My mental model is that you're paying for decentralization by paying for gas. But yeah.
So we're just waiting for this epoch to be finalized, which should be happening now at any time.
And actually, we've got a whole lot of people on in the chat here. Does anyone have a mainnet application? Is it still working? How's it working for everyone that's watching right now? Is everyone like furiously like fixing their nodes in the background? And Dan just asked, "Where's all the electricity savings?" Well, as soon as they turn off the GPUs that are doing a lot of the mining, that's where the electricity savings are. If all of those GPUs end up getting transitioned to another chain, then there won't be any electricity savings. But theoretically, the economics should be that it is less profitable to do GPU mining and proof of work mining that burns all of this electricity.
Yeah. Someone asked how the keepers are doing. The Beacon Chain website's down again. I can't check the epochs.
Yeah, I just tried running my mining rig, and it says can't parse JSON. So the miners are shutting down, and so if the mining pools are shutting down, if the Ethereum mining pools are shutting down, there's probably a lot of GPUs that are going to start slowly spinning down.
Great news if you're a gamer though, looking for a GPU.
What's the next big game that's going to need all those GPUs? Is it still Elden Ring? Is it Cyberpunk? I want to try Cyberpunk since like 1.6 came out, but
Cyberpunk's cool. Now that they fixed it.
I mean, it's always got a lot of hate, and like it's not the best game in the world, but like there's fun in there.
So I'll just share my screen quickly. We have a epoch confirmed. Screen 2. So we have this epoch now finalized, which is good. That's what we wanted to see. And I think once we have, so I think the merge transitionary period happened here, or was it just before they're in there? And then once we get to this one as well, then it's officially, done and dusted 100%.
What is that voted percentage? Is that the number of nodes that checked in?
Yeah, all the other validators that aren't proposing blocks for that epoch still need to do attestations and vote and check everything for the proposers. So there's like everyone gets rewarded every block a little bit of ETH. So even if you aren't involved in the block creation process, just for doing that attestation and voting, your validator will receive a little bit of ETH. So it's a constant kind of income stream. But obviously, if you get chosen out of the 1 out of 411,000 or however many it was validators to propose that next block, you obviously get a bigger reward.
Can we now check the first graffiti message? Is this the moment? We bet on some values.
Oh yeah, because we have the block number. The block number was ending in 7393.
We have the what? The block number?
Yeah.
Which block number was that though?
Where the difficulty threshold was passed.
Was it the beacon chain block number though? Or
I assume that's an execution chain number.
Execution.
Because the graffiti is on the beacon chain, it's not on the execution.
Oh, got it.
So, I mean, if someone may have found the exact one, but it will probably take possibly a little bit of time to work out exactly which one on the ETH2 chain was the one. I think you can actually tell, I think, because the block on ETH2 doesn't have just the default transaction data in it, but unless one of you guys can find out, I'm not 100% sure which bit of data in the block contains that. And the website's crashing again.
Yeah, I've been looking for it myself, but it's I'm not able to load beaconchain.
I mean, shouldn't the beacon chain block be encoded in every execution block?
Say that again.
Shouldn't doesn't there need to be a reference to the beacon chain block in the execution, in every execution chain block now?
Great question. I'm not 100% sure on that. Logically, it makes sense.
Here we go. So if you look in Etherscan, you can see that the difficulty went from 11 whatever to 0. So
whereabouts is that? Sorry.
Just here, I'll paste a link to Etherscan. So this looks like the first block with 0 difficulty. So that's how you can tell that it's positive confirmation this was a proof of stake mined block.
I think if you find a block is mined by a address rather than a miner pool, it is the first block mined in the beacon chain.
Probabilistically, yes. But who knows? Every now and then, oh, here we go. Bilal has said the first block after merge was beacon chain slot 47000015.
And we need to figure out which block within that slot would have been right. I mean, I know it's a one-to-one mapping, but
yeah, and someone called this out in the chat too, but the block reward for the first proof of stake block was much higher. It was 45 ETH rather than like 1 or 2 or 0.7.
Yeah, I saw the graffiti message and I'm kind of disappointed. That's like the default one.
There was a problem at the last company I worked at where every PR was just a sequential number. And so around all of the big numbers, like 100,000, 1 million, 10 million, everyone would start spamming PRs to try and get PR number like 10 million or 100 million or whatever. And it got so bad that like people would write bots to try and send a PR to get the PR number, like one of these magical important PR numbers. So
that's just
so funny how we care so much about like arbitrary numbers.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyone seeing anything going wrong on Twitter? Otherwise, maybe we all celebrate and kick off for the night.
Yes, all good.
It's kind of quiet. Like I was afraid of a storm of like everyone freaking out about everything, but everything seems to be working pretty well.
Exactly. Like in my Twitter feed, just pandas screenshot of different terminals.
Probably more terminal screenshots than you'll normally see on Twitter.
Yeah.
All right. Well, should we call this Ethereum merge block party a success after is almost perfectly an hour?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you all for watching. Hopefully everyone had fun and we learned something about the Ethereum merge. Thank you for being with us on this historic moment. Any other parting thoughts from the team?
No, we are good.
not for me.
I'll carry on mute.
Everybody in the Western Hemisphere in North America should get some, and South America should get some sleep, and the rest of us will stay on guard duty and make sure everything goes okay.
Yeah.
Thanks,
just
Uwe.
thanks
You're going to
everyone
make
for
sure
joining.
everything goes great, right? You're just going to make sure
Yeah.
everything. Just,
Oh, I'm just going to monitor everything. Don't worry.
We'll monitor the blocks as they come in.
thanks, Uwe.
We're
Thanks,
in
Harry.
good hands.
Thanks, Frank.
Yeah.
All right. Goodbye, everyone. Have a fantastic night. And,
Bye.
and welcome to the new epoch.
Yippee.